Discovery On Demand presentation is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by the U.S. Navy. Navy, accelerate your life. It was built by the most evil tyrant of the 20th century. In the years before World War II, this infamous dictator drew up plans for a new kind of warfare. The tank was at the very heart of his strategy.
Hitler was very involved in the design and the creation of the panzer armored forces. He was the sort of person who believed that tanks were going to make a difference in the next war, and he was willing to pay millions of marks in order to create the very best armored force possible.
Never before had any military commander placed the tank at the head of his armies. He was staking the future of his fascist empire upon the strength of these newly forged war machines. But would these Nazi tanks pass their ultimate test in the heat of combat?
This vehicle could outmaneuver anything, and if it couldn't outmaneuver anything, it could be outfighting anything.
It's the equivalent almost of having a jet engine in a fighter airplane. We suddenly see a mobile, fast vehicle, no longer the plodding mobile fort of the First World War.
The German Mark IV Panzer, first produced in 1937. Top speed 24.8 miles per hour. Range 130 miles. Maybach V12 gasoline engine gives a power-to-weight ratio of 10.6 horsepower per ton. Armor thickness 15mm maximum. Primary armament 75mm gun.
On September 1st, 1939, Hitler's new tank strategy was put to the test. On this day, the world had its first taste of Nazi blitzkrieg.
When it was first introduced, there was almost nothing on the battlefield that could stop it.
The German panzer divisions crushed all before them. Moving at unprecedented speed across the plains of Central Europe, the Mark IV Panzer changed land warfare forever. Hitler used his tanks en masse, but it was a small, seemingly insignificant piece of equipment that actually revolutionized tank warfare.
The big difference between a German tank and an Allied tank in 1940 is that the Allied tank has not got a two-way voice radio in it, and the German tank does. And because every German tank has got a sturdy little radio in it that the commander can just use as though it were a telephone, and they've been rehearsing with radios for years, that is what makes German armored warfare so effective in 1940.
Overnight, the tank had become the decisive weapon of land warfare, a fast-moving, powerful resource that could punch through defensive lines. With these tanks up front, the Germans advanced across Europe at up to 20 miles per day. The Mark IV scores an average ranking for mobility and gets good points for armor and for firepower. But the Mark IV Panzer is really let down in the ease of manufacture category. The Mark IV is a complex, heavily engineered machine, and like all German tanks, it was not easy to mass produce. Fear factor is very high. In the early days of World War II, this tank was unstoppable.